All right, so we're going to check out this extremely noteworthy incident that occurred. Out of all the things going on in the world right now, this is actually what we need to be paying attention to. This is the most important thing. This is an urgent breaking news alert. Um, a charter fisherman has entered an argument with uh, a teenager that was fishing.
What, like 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cussing you out?
No, that was the dude in that boat. Were you the one that came through the middle of the bridge? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I was here, but
About something that happened like yesterday, right? Or the day before. But I would say that that's water under the bridge. Get it? It happened yesterday. It's water under the bridge.
bro, you ran right through the middle of the bridge while we were all fishing.
In the middle of the night, the guy didn't have any lights on.
Bro, we were all fishing here.
He didn't have any lights on.
Alright, bro, I'm not.
Okay, so it is possible that these young kids were fishing without lights on, and it's also possible that this kind of older guy that has been on the water for years kind of feels entitled to just go way too fast on his boat. I think both of those things could be true at the same time. As a matter of fact, I think both of those things are true. I think some kids were fishing, him and his little buddies were fishing late at night without any lights, because this is the type of shit young people do, right? Like they don't have lights on their craft when they should, you know. And then as far as like this older guy, do older guys that feel like entitled, that have been on the water all the time, produce way too much wake on their boat? Absolutely. I'm telling you, as a person that canoes a lot, some of you guys, some of you older, boomers and Gen X that have your speedboats, some of you are absolute assholes with your wake, and you go blowing through like with your super big motors, creating huge waves. I mean, I deal with it, and I don't really care, because I just look at it as a challenge, as fun. But I mean, other people with like smaller, like this kid has like a John boat, so I could understand both sides here.
I'm not gonna do this with you, bro. I'm not gonna f***ing do this with you, bro. Like, it's not the right time, bro.
You know the law?
Bro, you can't come flying through the middle of the f***ing bridge, bro.
Yes, I can.
All right, bro.
Now, the best way to de-escalate this is if you literally made a "it's all water under the bridge" pun. That would have been a perfect way to de-escalate. Like if you could say, "Look, man, it's all water under the bridge. It was yesterday. It's all water under the bridge." And it's also like an IQ test. You see if he gets the joke or not. But I mean, I would find a way to try to de-escalate it. My favorite way to de-escalate a situation is to like threaten violence and try to de-escalate at the same time. I mean, we could kill each other over it. I mean, we both have weapons. What, do you want to kill each other over this? I mean, or we both want to die today? Like, that's one way I've de-escalated things before. Like I'd rather not die over this, but I guess, we both have weapons right now. We could kill each other over this. I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, I'd rather just move on, man. Like, that's one thing you could do to de-escalate. But what I don't like about the situation is this kid is like, well, he calls himself a kid, for one, but it's very like indecisive. What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with this? Either you're going to de-escalate or you're not. And so he can't decide if he wants to de-escalate or not. I see a boat with multiple big ass dudes on it. His boat has more horsepower than mine. I'm alone. This person's older, has more of a position in society than me. He's bigger than this dude. And so, like, I personally, if I was in his situation, I would be trying to de-escalate as much as possible. But you're like going back and forth between de-escalating and escalating. One option is to just give this guy the silent treatment and just pull off. And if he follows you, it's whatever. But it's, I mean, you have a lot of options here. You have a big open space. You could immediately pull off and get away from him. There's all types of shit you could do. You could try to be more de-escalatory, because I'm gonna show you where I think the young guy goes wrong.
What are you trying to do, bro?
What am I trying to do?
What are you trying to do, bro?
You want to go?
I don't want to go. I want you to get the out of here.
And see, telling him to get the fuck out of here, again, like if you're trying to de-escalate, that's really not like a good response. I don't think that's a productive way of dealing with the situation. Unless you're trying to incite violence. Now, if that's your goal, if you're literally trying to start a fight, then that's exactly the type of thing that you should say. Now, I don't think this dude wants that. That's kind of the problem, right? I don't think this dude really wants that. And so we're going to see what happens as we go forward.
Big tough guy?
Tough guy? You pulled up on me, fucker?
Yeah, I
And
did.
see, now he's calling him fucker. And so, like, the media has made the young guy on the boat, the jitterbug, the media has made him out to be the victim, and the charter boat captain to be like the bad guy. And I don't think it's really that simple. And to be quite frank, to be quite honest with you, we live in the movie Idiocracy, and this wouldn't be a news story 10 years ago. But social media has made people so stupid that like interpersonal drama like this is not even good gossip like in prison. Like, for example, like an argument like this wouldn't even be considered. Like in prison we stab people and shit. Like that's what happens in prison, right? And so like this type of shit right here is like some little girl gossip. This entire interaction, this wouldn't even be noteworthy. You wouldn't even have inmates gossiping about this at all, really, because it's not even worth like gossiping about. This isn't really a news story to me, but it's gone viral. So
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
No,
media's picked
I'm
it up.
fishing. Like, bro, get out of here. Like, what? What are you trying to do? Act like a tough guy in front of your buddies?
And see, now you're literally like challenging him. You see what I'm saying? It's not like you're not challenging the guy. You know what I'm saying? And so what's going to happen is you're going to get kind of what you're looking for. Like you're agitating this guy, and clearly you could tell he's a little mentally off. But, you know, the fishing captain, what he does next is, you know, illegal, but it's also the type of thing that like nobody would even get arrested if this were like 30 or 40 years ago. Like nobody would even get arrested. You're gonna see what happens. It's not nobody gets killed or anything.
No, I'm not. Dude, all these no, I'm tough.
Bro, all right, bro.
Now I'm not gonna lie. A statement like that, like you having to prove to some young stupid kid on a boat that you're tough. All these guys know I'm tough. I mean, that shit just sounded lame. I mean, it just did. It doesn't that shit didn't sound like it doesn't sound like something an actual tough guy would say. As a matter of fact, an actual tough guy would say something like, I'm going to give you an example. I got a friend of mine that's a Marine, right? You know, and one time, like a kid said something disrespectful and flipped them the bird. I don't even know why, to be honest. I don't even know why, but it was out a car window. It wasn't on a boat. And he said, yeah, he said in response, he said, you know what? I was in the Marine Corps and I fought for your right to be a punk little bitch. And so I'm going to let you do that because you have the First Amendment right. I fought for that right. And so, you know, that's like how a tough guy reacts. A tough guy doesn't really, you know what I'm saying? That's just not, you don't have to prove you're tough if you're tough. It's just not, you know. And so my friend, the Marine, he kind of showed me that when I was younger. You know, and he was a Marine. What the fuck does he have to prove? You know, he fought insurgents for this country. So.
You know what?
Get going, bro.
We're all
And see, you're literally telling him to get going. And so, you already told him that you really don't want to fight. Yet you're being disrespectful to him. You know, and this guy's saying we're all war veterans. Doubtful. This it could be true. I don't know. I don't know. It could be true, but what I will say is like this is the type of behavior that like Valhalla VFT would have a field day with. Valhalla VFT would be like chewing these guys out big time if they're all war veterans.
war veterans. We're all Rangers.
Well, thank you for your service.
They're all Rangers, every single person on the boat. So we got some stolen valor going on here, I think. I don't think every single person on that boat is a ranger. And I know some people in this, special operations community and stuff. And I want to ask you guys, do you think these guys are spec ops? I don't think so. I think they may be veterans, but they're probably remps. You know what I mean? I believe they're veterans. They look like vets to me, maybe. I don't know. But I don't think like chasing down kids and shit like what he's about to do. I just don't.
bro.
I couldn't see a tier 1 guy doing that.
Thank you for your service, bro. But that doesn't give you the right. Alright, bro. Alright, whatever. I appreciate you for your service, bro. But you don't gotta run through the middle of the bridge, bro.
Dude, if your guy doesn't have his life,
And so thanking him for his service could be, de-escalatory. And that could be seen as de-escalatory. And like, he could have, the charter boat captain guy, he could have used that as an opportunity. Again, both sides have lots of opportunities to really properly de-escalate it. One of the things I like to do is I like to say, hey man, let's de-escalate this, because we're not going to kill each other over this, are we? And so the reason I like that is because I'm simultaneously de-escalating and threatening violence at the same time. And so that's one of my things I like to do with people. I say, can we calm this down? Can we de-escalate this? Because like I don't think we want to kill each other over this. It ain't that serious, man. And so that's what I like to do personally. No matter what boat I was on, I think I could have de-escalated this situation. And I'm surprised that out of all the other people on that boat, none of his friends are telling him, to chill. So why is that? One thing is they might look at him as a lolcow. Another thing is they might really be afraid of him. Maybe this guy's really a psycho. Maybe he is as tough as he says he is. But for whatever reason, the other people on the boat they're kind of being quiet. And he is the captain of the boat, so I guess there is kind of a culture of just letting the captain do what he wants.
That's not my guy, bro. That's just another dude, bro.
you have to have lights on.
My lights were on, bro. My lights were on.
Somebody hits you, guess what the
I mean, I think it's entirely probable that his lights maybe were either not on or not sufficient, and this guy also went zooming through late at, I think they're both probably right. If I had to guess from my experience with these things, I think they're both right. But I don't know. I don't know exactly. But if I had to guess, I'd say they're both right.
happens? You die, nothing happens to me.
Right, okay, bro. Keep thinking that.
No, that's the truth.
Okay, so like this is taking it to another level, because it's like borderline a death threat, but he's basically saying if you died it would mean nothing to me. Like I mean, but you're scaring the shit out of this kid. Again, this is not an international news story, and I'm going to tell you the problem with that. Right? The problem with that is you're going to get Grady Judded or Mike Chitwooded. There's going to be, mark my words, I think it's already happened actually. I don't know yet. We did see it. There's going to be a press conference of a bunch of sheriff's deputies and a bunch of people in suits and ties, and they're going to be sitting there being the saviors. Yeah, as usual. They're gonna say, we take this incident very seriously, and we're gonna prosecute it for the fullest extent of the law. When 40 years ago, this wouldn't have even called for an arrest, and 40 years ago, this wouldn't even be a news story with the entirety of what happens. But the problem is, again, I've said over and over again, you'll become a scapegoat for people like Mike Chitwood. I think Grady Judd would be a little more balanced with this. But, any sheriff is going to take the juicy propaganda plum and parade for the press. And if you behave in ways that give law enforcement juicy propaganda plum, just know that, and believe me, I want to say this to the fishing charter guy in case you end up watching this. Listen, bro, I'm going to tell you, I know what happened. This kid said some mouthy shit to you, and then he pulls out the phone. And this is what these kids are doing. And you got to know that if you're Gen X or you're a boomer or whatever, what I want you to know, if you're a boomer or if you're Gen X, these kids are going to mouth off at you, say some shit to you, and then they're going to pull out the phone and start recording and act like a victim when you react. I know that's what they're doing. And they're doing it for TikTok views and clout and shit. I know. And then when shit gets real and they really get up in your face, they start saying, "Oh, I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid." So don't fall into that trap. Don't be don't be a victim of a Mike Chitwood press conference, bro. You really want the local bureaucrats to have a freaking press conference and act like you're some terrible person? You're going to become a pawn in the politicians' local bureaucrat game. You have the state attorney's office, you have the local sheriffs, you have the local news station, and all these people are a bunch of irrelevant bureaucrats, and they're desperate to stay relevant. And how they do it is stuff like this. You get to make them relevant. You get to make them to where they actually feel like they matter, and they all get together and form a press conference, and then you get way more like fines and jail time, whatever the hell you get way more than you actually deserve. You end up being a pawn in these people's machines, right? And then meanwhile, everybody loses sight of the fact that like 40 years ago, nobody would be arrested for this, and it wouldn't even be considered a fucking news story. Definitely wouldn't be a news story, and nobody would even be arrested for this 40 years ago, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm not fucking falling for this shit. I know our state laws, and I have control over my emotions. And men need to control.
All right, bro.
their
Keep
emotions.
thinking that.
Put your f***ing lights on.
Bro, my lights were on. I wasn't sitting there. Okay, that's not my dude, bro.
Cuss me the f*** out for it.
Bro, I said, bro, you almost hit him. The other dude was cussing you out.
I almost hit him because he didn't have his lights on.
Bro, you shouldn't come flying through the middle of the bridge. You know people fish here, bro.
Dude,
I'm sorry, man. I don't know if that's what you want to hear, bro.
yeah, you should apologize.
But, bro,
Well, you know, he's saying he's sorry.
Me-
This is where shit gets screwed.
me too, bro.
Right here.
I'm
This
out
is
here
where
all the
shit
time,
starts to
bro.
go like
I'm
haywire.
300 days a year.
I mean, this is just a normal day in Florida, though.
All right,
Every
bro.
day, I'm the best charter captain you'll ever meet in your.
All right, bro.
Cuss me out.
I'm the best fucking charter captain you ever meet in your fucking life. Guarantee are your money back. Bro, he should turn that into a commercial. I mean, really, I'm not gonna lie. What this charter captain needs to do is he needs to point out that I'm gonna give the charter captain the game what he needs to do. You need to go on YouTube and you need to say, yes, I apologize, I overreacted. And I think he's a good kid. He's a fellow fisherman, but at the same time, he's being an asshole. And this is a generational thing. These kids need to learn to be more respectful about how they interact with other people, because they'll curse somebody out and then they'll start recording and then they'll act like people reacting to their behavior. They'll act like a victim. This is what the charter captain needs to do. He needs to lay it all out there, and he needs to speak for himself. And don't let Mike Chitwood or Mike Chitwood wannabe lookalike, whoever tries to spin this narrative, he needs to take control of the narrative. If I was this charter captain, I would take control of the narrative and I would just lay it all out. He hops on the boat,
bro.
and so
Chill, bro,
statutorily,
please.
this is like burglary of a conveyance. Now, the kid drove him away from all of his friends. This is actually a pretty good tactical move. If you're going to jump on my boat, I'm going to isolate you from all your backup. It's going to be you and me. You're not going to have your backup. You're not going to have your backup with you. So this was actually a pretty good tactical move on the part of the kid. But other than that, it doesn't seem like he has a very big plan other than begging for mercy.
Please, bro. Please, okay, please, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Bro, I'm a kid, bro. Please.
Apologize.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
my problem with this is also, this is the only part the media is showing. The media is showing this, and it's completely out of context, right? And so, like, to the media that's only showing this part, shame on you. Go fuck yourselves. Showing this stuff out of context. You should be ashamed of yourselves, fake news, mainstream media, for taking these things out of context. You should show the entire video. Like this news organization is showing what looks like the entire video to me. And so thank you to Tampa 10 Tampa Bay, whatever. Thank you to 10 Tampa Bay. I'm going to subscribe to them. Yeah, I'm going to subscribe to them, because they're actually showing the entire video, and it's not just being taken out of context. And again, you know, it takes two to tango. Now, unfortunately for the charter boat captain, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. You are you know, your goose is kind of cooked on this one a little bit, because technically by jumping on that guy's boat, pretty sure they can hit you. I think it's like burglary of a conveyance or something, because let me put it this way: if I hop in somebody's car and I don't have permission to be in their car, it's a pretty serious crime, right? Again, this is some kind of felony. I know that. Or at least I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure this is some kind of felony. So again, you kind of fucked up here. You know, the local news channels are dying out, and you got people like Mike Chitwood, you got all the sheriffs and all the bureaucrats that are going to have the news conference, and they're going to make an example out of you, because these people are irrelevant, and in order to stay relevant, they have to stir up drama. And so this sort of tabloid news, big bad sheriff in town, the local news media trying to stay relevant, the state's attorney's office trying to get promotions, and all of these things together is like a perfect storm for making mountains out of molehills and ruining people's lives over things that aren't really that big of a deal. And it's just the age we live in, right? And there's a bunch of opportunistic people that view you as a rung in their career ladder, and they're going to take advantage of this because you gave them the ammunition to take advantage of this. And so I want you to know that, Charterfish Captain, you need to read the 48 Laws of Power. And I understand what you're going through. I get your side of the story. I know these kids do this shit. I know they, you know, I can see both sides here. I really can. Because, you know, I turn 30 next month, so I'm an older millennial, but I understand how these younger kids act. I know they're disrespectful, but at the same time, you got to control yourself, because the world we live in is changed, and things are rapidly changing. And if you don't adapt, you're going to get eaten. Okay?
Sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
You're gonna cuss me the
All right, bro.
in the middle of the
Bro, please, bro.
So I'm gonna give you another legal thing, Florida Statute 776. This kid can argue that he's in fear. Absolutely, he can argue he's in fear. Somebody else has jumped on his vessel and is threatening him. So if this kid or whatever, and he says he's a kid, he's old enough to drive the vessel. If however old he is, you know, this guy's bigger than you are, he's jumped on your vessel, you're intimidated, he's got a stand your ground case. He could whip out his pistol and shoot you. That's another thing I want ship captain to understand. You place this person in fear of imminent bodily harm. So under Florida Statute 776, he has the right to defend himself with useful force, lethal force. If he had pulled out a gun and shot the charter captain, he would legally be justified, because he was placed in fear of imminent great bodily harm. That could have got really ugly had that kid had a gun. And the way he was talking, the way that kid was talking, I would have assumed that he had a gun, to be honest with you. I really would have. Because if some small little Gen Z kid is on the boat talking to grown men like that, you have to assume that maybe the kid has a gun. And that, you know, a lot of these kids listen to gangster rap music, and it ain't that hard for them to get a gun, and they think they're a gangster. And, you know, any pussy can shoot somebody. So again, this type of behavior could have got you killed. And it's just, I hope everybody learns from this. I hope the kid learned his lesson. I hope the older guy learned his lesson. There's a lot of lessons to be learned here. This was fucking stupid. The whole incident was water under the bridge. Because you guys are about to get somebody killed or something over some shit that happened yesterday that wasn't a big deal, right? You guys could communicate this like adults and handle this shit like adults. You want this kid to act like an adult, you need to model that behavior as well. So I just want to say, you know, I'm not taking sides here. They're both wrong.
Please, bro.
One's just wrong in the legal sense.
Okay, please.
You apologize.
I'm sorry, bro. That was not me, bro.
Yes, it was.
I was here, but my buddy was on the
And
boat.
see, now that it's, you know, he can't keep his story straight about who it was.
Yes, sir. I'm a kid, bro. Please, bro.
I don't care. You don't cuss me
Yes,
the
sir.
out.
All right.
And talk to me, my.
Yes, sir.
You don't do it.
I'm sorry, man. I wasn't like cussing you out,
Yes,
though, bro.
you were, dude.
I was driving the boat.
Did
Okay.
you not call me a
No, bro.
Yes,
that
you
was
did,
that was a friend on the. Okay, I'm sorry,
That
bro.
was your friend on the boat.
I'm sorry, bro.
Your friend, I'll look at it and come
Yes,
on
sir.
your boat and you both up.
Yes, sir.
Do it again and watch what happens. Do it again.
One of that guy's friends says,
Yes,
"Get
sir.
back on the boat. What are you doing?" Yeah, one of
I'm
his
sorry,
friends is
bro.
like, "What the
Like,
fuck
I
are you
appreciate
doing?"
y'all, bro. Like, I'm sorry, bro.
The wrong
Bro, yes, sir.
Okay, what did I tell you? What did I fucking tell you? A press conference. The local bureaucrats, they gotta have the last word about it, and they're gonna spin the narrative. And the sad thing about it is, the charter fish captain is probably gonna let them do it, and probably gonna keep a low. The advice is always keep a low profile. You're all over the news. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you. Take control of the narrative. If you're on national news, like everybody's always ducking and hiding from the cameras, don't duck and hide. You know what I mean? That just makes you look even more guilty. That's the dumbest advice I've ever, like, ducking and hiding from the news cameras like you've done something wrong that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, bro. Don't do that. If you're ever the spectacle of something like this, if you ever do something impulsive and you end up on a national news story, and they put the camera in your face, look at them and then say,
I didn't do anything wrong. I'm a good person.
Those were the words Jordan Jerup said after walking out of the house in handcuffs.
on a regular basis, men are stabbing each other in prison, yet two men having an argument on some boats is considered national news.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chief Pam Smith, PAM, SMITH. I'm the Chief of Police for the Punta Gorda Police Department. I also have with me MPO AJ Russell, our Marine officer, Lieutenant Justin DeVault, his supervisor. We have FWC Captain Steve Stuck.
And so, yeah, we got to have. It must be nice getting paid taxpayer money to stand around like this all day in front of cameras giving a press conference. I would like to thank our 4chan partners and our shitposting Discord moderators. I would also like to thank our Reddit task force. I mean, come on, like, what is it like to get paid to sit there giving a press conference for like 20 minutes about some petty shit like this? I wonder what it's like to be the state's attorney's office when you're typing out a tweet about this shit, acting like it's a big deal. I wonder what it's like to be the local news guy that's like acting like this is a big deal. I wonder what it's like to be Fox News turning this into a national news story as if it were actually a big deal.
And
I mean, it's a sick joke. It's a sick joke, bro. We're holding press conferences and having like national news and everybody standing looking all serious having a press conference because two people had an argument on some boats. Like, it's just a typical day in Florida. If there wasn't a smartphone recording it, it wouldn't even be a news story. 40 years ago, nobody would have been arrested for it.
I want to make it clear that the Punta Gorda Police Department takes public safety very seriously. And
they do. You can tell they take public safety a little too seriously because this is what they're giving a press conference about. They got cities where people are getting shot and stabbed and murdered. This is what they're giving press conferences about. And Brock, listen, the guy that owns the fish charter, reach out to me, bro. Let's hang out. Like, for real, you're from Florida. Let's go hang out. Listen, you've been disgraced and railroaded by the media just like I have. We got something in common. Let's hang out. You know what I mean? That's the cool thing. Listen. I'm talking. I want to speak directly to the state's attorney's office. Keep marginalizing these people, arresting them, throwing them in prison for relatively petty things. I'm gonna have so many friends that used to be part of your system that now no longer believe in it. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have so many people that would otherwise never hang out with me, and now they're gonna be just like me. So they're not gonna feel above me in any way. So this is excellent. This is great news for me. Keep marginalizing these people. Keep making news stories out of these people. Keep making mountains out of molehills. This is great news for me. Please keep doing this because I'm going to hang out with these people and make friends with them because they're not going to feel above hanging out with me anymore now that it's happened to them.
Our Marine unit, MPO Russell and PFC Jesse Richards, have investigated this incident thoroughly.
They did a thorough investigation. Yeah, a thorough investigation. What is there to investigate?
Wildlife Conservation Commission,
Oh my
FWC,
God.
and the United States Coast Guard are also collaborating with our officers, and they are doing independent investigations.
Look, I'm part of the newscast. Look, I'm part of the newscast now. This guy thinks he's on TV. I'm gonna ruin his fun. This guy right here, I'm gonna cover him to where my face is covering him. So he's getting less publicity now.
The confrontation actually stemmed from an incident that occurred on March 30th, 2025 at about 5:30 in the morning.
And they're giving like a serious press conference like this is some kind of murder or something.
Horner had driven his vessel at a high rate of speed, coming within about 10 feet of the victim's vessel. Ultimately also passing another vessel approximately within 5 feet. Mr. Horner and the victim exchanged words, and then Mr. Horner
Bro, she's detailing this like it was a murder or something. She's detailing this crime scene like it was like, did they put crime scene tape all up on the bridge? If you go there right now, there's probably like crime scene tape wrapped all over the bridge. They probably had a forensic dive team out there because just in case the kid had extra video footage that he threw overboard. Like, I've seen situations like this happen and then people be friends later. You know? Yeah, I've seen people go through this type of thing and then after it's all over with, they're friends. But now the social media and the government gets involved. Realistically, I don't think every situation where two men get into it has to involve the authorities. Not so long ago, really, there was a time when this wasn't a national news story. There was a time when local law enforcement was way less likely to get involved. And we used to have a better society because of it. It was just better. It was just better. You know, I don't think two guys getting in a fight automatically needs to be arrested. I don't think it needs to work like that. I think men fight. If there was no weapons involved, no serious bodily injury, I think men fight sometimes. I think men always have fought. I think the main difference now is everybody whips out a camera and we need to hold a fucking press conference over it. And I just don't think that that's the right way to deal with it. And it certainly isn't the way like Russia deals with it. You think like Russian police officers care if two men have a fight? They have better things to deal with than two men out in the middle of nowhere on a boat having a fight. Right? It just is what it is. The men, they deal with it. You know, maybe one guy doesn't want to fight. Maybe he bitches up and says he's sorry. Whatever. The situation resolves itself. You don't need to hold a fucking press conference. Is my take on this a shitty take? Am I wrong here? This isn't a press conference. This isn't a national news story. This is just two men having a disagreement, hashing it out. That's all it is. Am I wrong here? I don't think so. Let me know in the comment section. Jordan Jerub, signing off.